Hi everybody, this is Diane. I just finished filming these journals, but I always forget to mention when they're going to be in my shop till the end. So I'm filming this and hopefully I can tack it right on to the beginning of my video to let you know that these will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the day you see the video. I don't know if it's going to be Friday or Saturday, but whatever day you see this video, these will be in my shop at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned to see the flip through. Thanks. Hey everybody, this is Diane. Thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate it. Today, we are going to look through these 4 journals that I just completed. I had said that I was going to make 4 simple journals with needlework kind of a theme because I wanted to use pages out of my needlework books. And then I decided to use actual embroidered linens or crocheted pieces on the covers. Well, as you will see, these aren't so simple, and I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. But I wanted to use up a lot of my supplies that went along with this theme. So I think they turned out nice, and I think you're going to like them. So let's just take a look. I guess I'm going to name them by color. So this one will be pink. I used different color thread in each to sew each one on. So this one is sewn with some pink thread. This one will be the blue one. This is the only paper that was double-sided because I put the printed side on the inside. And they represent stitches and things like that. And this one was a blue pattern, sewing pattern design. So that looks pretty through that crochet. This one I will call purple because it does have purple in it. I used purple velvet ribbon and purple thread. And this one will be yellow or gold. I don't know which I'll call it, but so let's just take a look at them one at a time. I will tell you before we begin, I did use no digital, I did use digital pages. All right, so I have some of these pieces and little doily pieces, and I cannot remember which shop they came from. They come in a variety of sizes, and I used a variety of sizes in there. Those are from a different set. So I'll have to try to find the Etsy shop and link that. And then I also have these. These are digital, and they're little images of embroidered flowers. So I'll have to also find, I don't remember who these digital sets were from. So I'll have to try to find them and link them. The digital pages I used are embroidery sampler pages from tailor-made journals. So take a look at this piece of doily. It will fray. You'll have some fray edges. You can either leave them or you can just pull them off, some of them, or trim them off. And once it gets down to the stitching, it won't fray anymore. I love the colors. It's got a couple of shades of pink in there. I love the pretty, delicate design. And then I used a piece of hand crochet on the edge. I pretty much used up most of the hand crochet edging that I had, which makes me sad, but that's what I have it for. So you can see the inside cover here with the, looks like a stitched pattern on the inside. And this has one of the doilies, the digital doilies. I used a lot of pieces of embroidered linens, some embroidered ribbon. You'll see images from craft books with cross-stitch charts, digital pieces, and, well, you'll see. We'll go through it. So this is obviously an embroidered pocket, an embroidered linen that I used as a pocket, and it had this edging on it, which I left on. An embroidered ribbon there. And this is a copy I made of an embroidered piece that I picked up at a flea market. So it was a full sheet with the different designs on it. So I cut it, and you'll see it on several tags. This was cut off of a doily. This is one of the sampler pages from Tailor-Made Journals, another crocheted doily. And this was out of a book of cross-stitched monograms. And here is a embroidery chart for a rooster. And silk ribbon embroidery. I used a variety of things to top my tags off. Like the crocheted flower and the silk ribbon embroidery. And you'll see what else. This is from an antique magazine, and it was advertising embroidered stockings. So there were 3 images. It was a long strip, and I cut it into 3 pieces. And the other book has a different image in place of that. I did some stenciling with a lacy design and a little bit of stamping. This is from a book, and it obviously has some stitching with yarns. And I stamped this stamp from Tailor Made Journals. It's glued onto graph paper so you can journal. Clipped it on with this little paper clip with a little tiny heart. But it's Know Your Needles, and then it has images of different sizes of needles and what they're used for. Each journal has a page from a paper instead of tissue embroidery transfer. This is another paper embroidery transfer with this cute puppy, and he has balloons tied to his tail. So I used little crocheted bits that were cut off of doilies and pieces of embroidery floss. And these are just little images that came out of a book and a magazine that you can journal on the back. This is a double-sided paper, this page, and it has lace design on it, front and back, different lace designs. On this page, I stamped Fancy Goods and Novelties, that stamp, and then I just put a little, like a border piece, and the word hers. And these are embroidery transfers that you could use for embroidering towels and whatnot. This is from an antique magazine from the 30s, 20s or 30s, showing some projects with embroidery and other needleworks. Some pretty aprons. This is an article about hand stitching. This is a dyed paper that just has a little snippet of embroidery that I cut off of a linen piece, a little basket. Here's another chart for doing embroidered dolls. The face is embroidered and the dresses have cross stitch on gingham sort of thing. And this came from a vintage book about how to make the crocheted edgings. You could glue this down somewhere or glue some paper to the back so you could write on it. I just paper clipped it on. And here's one of the digital doilies you can use as a journal spot or make it into a tuck spot. Oh, this says rag rugs. That's what this is for. I think that's for a doll, and that side's for a rag rug. Another digital from Tailor Made Designs and Tailor Made Journals. And I have these cards that have samples of yarns and floss and things. So I cut them, and two of them are upside down because I had to flip them so the threads would hang off the edge of the page. But I put them on as a pocket. And I just tuck some things that you can use throughout your journal. This is an embroidery transfer and a little scrap of a digital embroidered piece and another scrap. This is a piece of lace that I have. I made a copy of it. So those little pieces are in there for you to just take out and use to decorate your journal if you'd like. And I stamped and stenciled on this page with some doily stamps and a lacy stencil. Here I just embellished with a trial of embroidery transfer just to test it and see if it worked on the fabric that you wanted to embroider on. This is from a book. It's a nice sturdy page showing some embroidery stitches. Here's the full page of the monogram cross-stitch book. In the center of each journal, there is the pocket and the envelope from Embroidery Transfers. And this one has scrapbook paper on the inside, and I didn't put any, this is that lacy double-sided paper. You can write on that, it's so light. This one I added some paper that you can write on. And I used some of those little embroidered flowers that I just showed you at the beginning of the video. When I sewed the signatures in, I left the threads long and added some beads to the bottom. I have dried glue all over my hand. Here we have a little flip with just a piece of fabric and an embroidered piece, and I tied some yarn. I had a hank of yarn. This was all tied together, so it went with a crewel embroidery kit, and so was this. These are from different embroidery kits that I picked up at the flea markets. So I just took some of those and tied it into a bow. There's another little snippet of embroidery. And this also, and this was on a little baby quilt. And here I took one of the longer pieces of these embroidered pieces, and I just attached it to this page with a brad. This one's a pretty cameo. So you can remove the brad and write on this and then put it back on if you want to. This is from another kit, and I don't know if it was chapter 1. I'll have to find this one too, but I think these all came in the same kit. So I'll see if I can find them also and link it. But this was a wider journal card or whatever, and I had to trim it off so it would fit on this page. And I used another one of the little doilies for a journal spot. This was just a piece of, I think it's something that, I don't know if someone was gonna embroider on it. It didn't look like a finished project because the edge isn't finished. It just had this green border around it. So I just cut a piece of it and sewed it on for a little flippy piece. Some more crochet on the edge here. More embroidery transfer and the digital flowers. And I added another pocket here from a embroidered, just a small little dresser scarf. And this was a large piece of fabric that had these flowers. It's not finished because there's a French knot in the center, but the other ones don't have the French knot. So it was just a fabric. It was nothing finished, but it was pretty big, and it had these flowers and some green stitching all over it. So I got to make a tag for every journal with that. And I added a vintage yo-yo for the topper. Here is the embroidery transfer, the other side of it. And this was cut off of something, I don't know what, but it still got the fabric attached. I had 4 stamps. 3 of them are the Homemaker's stamped, and it looks like it's needlepoint. So I put that on there. And it was backed with a little piece of linen that had some embroidery on it. This was a leftover piece. This is a digital embroidered ribbon. And then I stamped my stamp that says, do something creative every day. It's how I close every video. What do I say? Have a creative day today is what I say at the end of my videos. But I have this stamp, and so I thought I need to use it, especially in a journal like this. And this was just a little piece. I got a few little embroidered pieces like this. I guess it's cross stitch, that weren't finished. They were just little pieces in a bag that I picked up at a flea market, so I used those in these journals. Backed it on cardstock, and I added this little crocheted flower. I tucked this in. This was from a old book about making these edges around the doilies, and I thought you could write on this, glue some paper to the back and write on that, I didn't know what you'd want to do with it, so I just tucked it in there. You can do what you want. You just have to be careful with the edging that I punched. And a scrap of paper that you can use as a journaling card or glue down as a pocket or something. What did I take this out of? This is an embroidery transfer, and I used this tag to back it with, and it had a large hole. And then it didn't have a reinforcement, which I didn't even think about. So when I tied these yarns in, it pulled right through. So I had to reinforce it with some cardstock. And I took it out of something. Here. There we go. And then here we have some crewel embroidery. This is what this green piece was cut from. Unfinished. And some more crochet trim. And another embroidery transfer that I glued to some purple cardstock. And some more yarn. Now those yarns, I think I got them in a Happy Mail with, someone sent me some like little woven mats, and they were like a demonstration of what this person could make. Not the person that sent them. I don't know where she got them from, but she sent them to me, these pieces. And I've used some of the woven pieces, but I believe that this came with it, these little scrappy pieces. So I used some of those in the last tag of each journal. And I will be tying some sari ribbon or seam binding around each one. So this is the pink one, and I can go through the other ones more quickly. They all look different, but they all have the same elements. So as I said, this one has this crochet piece, which is quite pretty. And this crochet edge has a blue tip on it, which is really nice. I love this. I'll try to keep it down on the table. These are both charts from vintage books. And this came from a sewing book with a little bit of needlework on the girl's dress. Bit of filet crochet on the edge there. This came from a book about doilies, and you can see a piece of the doily there. And this was another chart, but it's in color with some crochet on the edge. And all of these came from the vintage crochet books. And this one has a bit of crochet edging that came off the cover of one of those books. Most of those old books are black and white inside, but they have color on the front. So you could use this to just embellish an edge, cut it into little pieces, whatever you want to do, or just get rid of it if you don't want it. More of the yarn samples, and this one has an embroidery transfer piece and a little snippet of that colorful chart that you can use, and another doily. Kind of looks like Snow White's mirror, or the Wicked Queen's mirror. Another test piece. This one has gray thread and these pretty blue and white beads. And this is from this same digital kit as these other pieces. Oops, I want to keep that. This one has a little tear right here, so just be careful as you're putting things in and out. These are vintage embroidery transfer envelopes. This one has a little embroidered pear on it and some more of those yarns. This is from a pillowcase, this backing fabric. vintage pillowcase. More embroidery. This one has a pretty, I think that's upside down. I'll have to turn that brad around. Can I spin it? Yes, I can. Isn't that pretty? And that is the sampler from Tailor Made Journals. This again has, I didn't reinforce this one because I didn't pull on it hard enough, must be, and it didn't break. That was the first one I tied. And the second one, pulled it right through. This one is another scrappy piece, and I added a few embellishments there. We have another crochet edge and a digital flower. There's the stamp. Has the doilies again and a scrapbook paper, and this one has a coffee grinder embroidered on there. And this is another piece of that large piece of fabric with all of the flowers on it. So that one's the blue one. Next we have yellow. This one is a beautiful piece of embroidery on this textured toweling, I guess it is, and it has this gold fringy trim. I think it's so pretty with the red poppies. This one was a piece of cloth for embroidering on, and someone started it and didn't finish it, and these threads were still hanging. I just trimmed them because they were kind of long. So you can trim them off more if they bug you. Oh, did you get to see that? That looks really pretty. The other embroidered stocking piece, or another. What was in this one? Oh, it had this one, because I only had 3 of the embroidered stocking pieces. This is from a pattern envelope from the embroidery transfers. I love that little image. Some vintage crochet there, tatting, I guess. It's another little embroidery transfer edging piece. Now this is some of that colored chart. It was actually the image on the front of a magazine, a vintage needlework magazine. So you can cut bits out of this. There's a cat right there and a little floral banner, or what do you call them, swag right there. Flower basket. So you can cut this into pieces and use it throughout your journal. And this is a nice page too with the red and black embroidery chart. In this one's right side up. You can read it right side up, and it has another little digital scrap embroidery transfer pieces. And this was on the envelope of an embroidery transfer set. Another test piece. And this one has bright blue and orange and yellow and white beads because of the colors on this. This is an embroidered piece that I sewed onto this fabric and added, got some glue on the page here, and added a yarn bow again. And I did not have another one of the long digital pieces. I could have printed more, but I already have enough stuff printed. So I did these 2 pieces. So you, again, take them off and write on the backs. This is a white piece. That I made a copy of this piece because I own it, the linen piece. And it's just white linen with white edging, and I added this digital flower to it to give it some color. This has one of those alterations tags again. And this is another embroidery piece with the pretty edging and a vintage doily portion on top. Embroidery transfer here. And another homemaker stamp. And this one has an oil lamp. This is a chart. It was too wide to use in the book, so I folded it. You can glue something on it to write on it. You could cut it and make a side pocket if you wanted to. So in some of the pockets, as you have noticed, I'm sure, I've included pieces for you to just remove and use in your journal. Same with this. You can use it any way you want. You can cut those into little strips, glue it down, make it a journal card, whatever your heart desires. And we have, doesn't want to go in there. There. We have another pocket made with that large piece of floral embroidery and this little, kind of like a Sunbonnet Sue embroidered design. This one is the yellow or gold one. And then we have the purple one. And I mentioned in a previous video, if you didn't see it, this is one full piece of linen. This is the only one I didn't have to cut. It was slightly wider, so you'll see it hangs off. And I wanted the lace to hang off, and it was slightly shorter. So there was space. You could see the white of the cardstock through the lace. So I added purple velveteen ribbon or velvet ribbon. I think this embroidery is so pretty. And there was a hole in the linen right here, which I wouldn't have minded, except it was just plain white cardstock underneath. So I added that crocheted leaf. If I can get a hold of it and turn the page, we'll begin. You'll see a lot of the same things. There's the other embroidered stocking. She's very pretty. There's another one of those little girls. And this one wasn't too wide to use as a journal card, and I think it's really pretty. It matches this cardstock beautifully. This one is a long piece, advertising bias tape, so you can cut that into pieces and use it. And we have a transfer piece and two. This one I backed with cardstock, so you could use it as a journaling card, and that's, you could use either side of that. This would be pretty to cut that and use it as a corner. These sampler pages are so pretty from Tailor Made Journals. This is from a vintage magazine, shows some crewel work, and the back side was not crafty stuff, so I just collaged. Embroidery transfer from a doily book and a digital doily there. And these cards are both the same. They have this cardstock scrap and some pieces from a crochet book. And this one has blue and purple and yellow and white beads. This piece of it was in the directions, I think, that came in an embroidery transfer, and it's written in French. And it's kind of purpley blue print. Another cross-stitch piece on that. Look at that pretty brad. And another large embroidery piece from this kit. Not the same as the one with all the little doilies. This was a kit that had embroidered pieces used as tags and pockets and cards. I love this embroidery transfer on the white paper. And it has kind of an imprint from other, it was all, you know, folded up into an envelope for years and years. And so I think another page imprinted on it. And I think it looks really neat. And here's the other stamp that I had. It's a quilt. I had 3 homemaker stamps and 1 quilt stamp. I had just enough needlework stamps. And this is an advertisement for embroidery silk. And oh, I included this piece so you can do your own needlework if you want to. So I have to go back and add a piece to the other journals. I forgot. This is just a cut-off piece, so you could journal on that. You can journal on the back. Same with that one. And another section of the crewel work. It was an unfinished piece, but this piece is complete. And this has green trim. There we have it. Purple, yellow, blue, pink. I hope you like them. I had a lot of fun making them. And, oh, I never remembered to tell you at the beginning of the video. I think it'll be Friday. I think it'll be Friday when this video goes up. It's either Friday or Saturday. So I'm going to, whatever day you see the video, I'm going to put these in my shop at 6 p.m. I know I've been doing it so that they were in the shop as soon as you saw the video, but that's been early in the morning, and I know some of you can't get to them at that time of day. So this one I'm going to do at 6 p.m. and I hope you all rush over there at 6 p.m. and snatch them all up. Anyway, I had fun making them, and I hope you enjoyed seeing them and get inspired to use some of the supplies that you've been holding on to, like I have been holding on to some of these supplies. I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye.